Yeah, now we are. Yeah, welcome everybody live here this morning. Welcome. This is Talking Niagara on on Facebook and YouTube. So if you like the show, tell us you like the show, and you can like and subscribe. Anyway, well, like and subscribe on YouTube, and you can, like and subscribe, I guess, on YouTube, and you can subscribe on Facebook as well. There you go. Okay. Okay. So basically,
I like the show.
Yeah, you're here. You're here helping the show.
Yeah.
I would hope you like the show.
I'll give you my opinion. It is a terrific show. What a wonderful show. And I'll pretend to be somebody else and put that in the comments later too.
All right. Okay, so welcome everybody. So police watchdog is investigating after a fatal police shooting in Welland. And as they do with every fatal police shooting. And I was kind of a little bit late this morning because I was trying to figure out where the hell this place was. Because, it's one of these things. You always think you know King Street in any city, don't you?
Yeah, well, a lot of times it's the old part of town, and and it's the main part of town has moved away from it.
Yeah,
so it has the illustrious sounding King Street, but it might not be much on it.
Yeah, not much modern stuff on it, and that turns out to be the case in Welland. It's near the canal. But King Street and Ontario Street are actually, exactly the older parts of Welland. But anyway, Sunday morning, there was police watchdog said it was investigating a shooting that happened in that area.
Yeah. So sadly, this is another case where the perpetrator was actually shooting back at the police, and the police had no choice. It was like the one that happened here in town too. So what is it with all the gunplay? And that's the biggest problem I see. It was years upon years before a cop ever shot someone in town or even in the region, and it was a rare thing to do. And we've had two in 1 year.
Yeah, and the
maybe
other thing
more.
is,
I know those are the two I know.
Yeah, and the other thing is that when I first came to Niagara, there was a shooting that happened, and it was like I remember the local news commentators saying this was about the first shooting we've had in about 20 years.
Yeah, and now we have it all kinds of
2010 when the first shooting occurred, and it was kind of, whoa, we haven't had a shooting here forever, right?
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not talking about police shooting here in that instance, but I'm just talking about we hadn't had a death by shooting in the Niagara region forever and a day.
Well, yeah, that's all changing, and and it has to do with the amount of guns that are coming over the border from the States. There are so many of them. They're easy to get, easy to move north. It's a sad thing that there's that many handguns out there, but you could also use any other kind of weapon, as we saw in Australia. We could see legal firearms being used to do a lot of damage. But
we'll come back to that one in a little while as well.
Yeah, but my concern here is the growing amount of gunplay, and we have cops shooting bad guys, kind of, and that's been a rare thing.
Yeah.
And I just don't like the way things are going. I don't know how you can hesitate it. You really have to put new laws in to make owning a gun an offense with some teeth. If you have an illegal handgun and you don't use it in a crime, you should go to the pokey for 2 years. But if you use it in a crime, it should be an automatic 5 years. Or some kind of punishment. If you have a handgun or any other illegal gun, any illegal firearm, then you need to go to jail.
Yeah.
This kind of they took away. I mean, we were talking about idealism, and we'll talk about that a little bit later when Poilievre accuses Carney of being a neoconservative.
We'll get to that one, yeah. But again, you know, I've never owned a gun in my life. Would never consider owning, you know, wanting to own one illegally, so to speak. You know, but we've got an increasing supply of weapons on the streets now.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, I don't have a gun either, but I thought, well, maybe we should get a bazooka because I don't want to, you know, my aim is not that good. If I use a bazooka against a bad guy, I'm sure to hit him, you know. But I don't know, a rocket launcher or something. But
yeah,
the whole idea. And what this does is you get more gunplay, and then you get people thinking, well, maybe I should own a gun.
Yeah.
You know, to protect myself, and then you start getting incidences where
a friend of mine,
kind of thing we hear from the States is when a son sneaks in at night when he wasn't supposed to go out, or he forgot his keys and his dad shoots him.
Well, a friend of mine is a gun owner here locally in the Niagara region, but he goes regularly to the sporting range.
Well, right? Yeah.
He once invited me along, and I thought to myself, you know, as much as I wanted to do it, I was kind of hesitant because I didn't want to own a gun, and if I wanted to get serious at that, I'd have to own a gun.
Yeah, there's no problem owning gun.
No, I know.
There's no problem.
In fact, in the vast majority of killings we've had in Canada, it's not the legal gun owners that are the problem. And in fact, actually, when you talk to Angela Brown, she comes from up north, and everybody has weapons up there.
Of course they do. Everybody has firearms up north. Everybody's a hunter, or their uncle's a hunter, or their, you know, I mean, every household has firearms.
Well, she was taken out on a hunt when she was, you know, 15, 16, that kind of age.
Yeah. You know, well, so I worked with a guy, and he was a farmer. He'd been grown up as a farmer, and they had a loaded firearm behind the back door because they had so much trouble with vermin, like coyotes and things of that kind. So they had a loaded firearm behind it, and it was just an ordinary everything to do. Of course, the safety was on, but it was loaded just so they could go quickly grab it and use it to shoot a coyote or something that might be biting on their sheep or whatever else. I don't know what I was doing.
Well, yeah,
but you had vermin.
Yeah,
you know, and so having a firearm is not a problem. It is who has the firearm.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and the reason why handguns are a problem is because they are anti-personnel weapons. That's the problem.
Well, they can be hidden so easily. You know, after all, you think about it. How many places in your car can you hide a handgun?
Well, yeah, and they're only made for anti-personnel. They're not made for hunting. They're not made for anything else. They may be able to, a cop may be able to take his pistol out and shoot a wounded deer in the ear just to stop it from the pain it's in, that kind of thing. But a pistol is an anti-human device. It is a device to protect yourself or to assault another person to person. It has no other useful purpose. A hunting gun is a completely different thing. A hunting rifle or a shotgun. Shotguns for mostly for birds. It can be used on larger game, but then other hunting rifles are for game. Those are fine. You know, it's the handguns and the automatic weapons. You don't need an automatic or semi-automatic to bring down game.
No, and also the other thing about that is, whilst handguns are used in shooting ranges, right? They are used. They're not automatics there. You know, competition handguns are not automatics. They're you know, they're single shot.
Yeah. So in any case, the problem is the type of firearm. Number one, handguns are anti-personnel things, and they're made to kill or wound humans. That's what they're meant for. And but hunting rifles are meant to. But you can use a hunting rifle to kill somebody, of course. That happens.
It does. It has happened. Yeah. Even in American killings, there's been hunting rifles used. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, obviously, yeah, definitely. And if you go up north, that one incident on one of the reservations, one of the indigenous reservations, a kid went nuts. It was a long rifle that he used to kill people because they're readily available up there as well. Because of up north, you hunt. That's what you do. You hunt.
Yeah. But that's kind of shooting of innocent individuals is rare up north.
Yeah, it happens, but it's a rare thing.
Yeah.
Well, any case, the idea here that a guy in Welland was shot by local police, and then we had that incident right here on Thorstone Road where another guy was shot. I don't know. I just don't like that. It's kind of feeling crowded in with too many gunshots going around.
Yeah. And as you say, what's worse about that is that you feel that you need a gun. If you feel you need a gun for your own safety, then that's probably the wrong choice.
Yep.
And it's a bad way we're going in society if that ends up to be the case.
Yes. When everybody thinks they need a gun to protect themselves, like our neighbors down to the south think they need guns all the time. I was like I said, a couple of years ago, I was on Long Island, and I was sitting out in the backyard with a bunch of guys. Every one of them had a gun. Every one of them had a handgun. And I said, "What do you need a handgun for?" Like, what do you need a gun for? What do you need a handgun for, man? Like, I've never had one, never wanted one, never thought I needed one. How come you think you need one? Although the crime's way bad down here. And I said, among white people in the United States, crime is very low compared to anywhere else in the world. It's in the black areas where the crime is. It's 5 times as much, the black and Hispanic areas. So if you're a white person in a white neighborhood, it's a very safe place to be, basically. But if you're a black person or a Hispanic person, then you have trouble. Then you have worries because there is a lot of gun violence in those neighborhoods. And that's because of poverty and so on. But I don't know. They see that. They see the gunplay that happens in the. I think among black and Hispanic, there are 5 times as many gun deaths per capita as there are in the white community or Caucasian or whatever, or other communities. Asian community.
And that's something the U.S. needs to address.
Yeah, you don't find it in the Asian community either.
Yeah.
So they're so basically
what you got to do is you would find it. I think there's many immigration communities you would not find it in. And you're talking about Europeans, Europeans, but I don't think you would find a lot of weapons in like Indian communities or Chinese communities and other people generally people across Asia.
Yeah, I'm not a sociologist or anthropologist or anything like that, but that generally seems to be every time I read stuff like that. The real tragedy is where the deaths occur.
Yeah.
And when they're talking about sort of getting rid of the police after the George Floyd thing, right? Reduce police, get rid of police. As soon as they did that, some of the cities did reduce their police. And then the police were very reluctant to go into black neighborhoods and Hispanic neighborhoods, and the crime rate went up. The shooting and violence went way up.
Yeah.
And so you need the cops, and you need to get rid of the guns, and you need to help those neighborhoods and like bring them along, because I mean,
Yeah.
that's a human
Well,
tragedy.
and you get immigrants from parts of the world where guns are not normal. You know, I think you'll find that even in America, the amount of gunplay they bring is minimal.
I don't know. Yeah, basically, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know.
All
But
right.
it's a culture of guns too. That's a big
Yeah.
problem too.
Yeah.
Oh, I got my first AR-15 when I was 11.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anything to shoot, so I shot my neighbor's dog. He came into my yard.
690 mass shootings and over 70 school shootings in the USA this year. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's
And this
insane.
and you see, and this is the difference. The SIU were at this Welland site doing a big investigation because the police shot somebody. Right?
Well, they do the same thing in the States.
Yeah, I know, but again, this we have a lot, a lot rarity of shootings and rarity of of cop shootings here as well.
Yeah. What I don't like is the creep of the gun violence of the United States creeping over the border, and that's what I feel like it's on kind of an very hard to resist this sort of violence that is everyday kind of violence we see in the States spilling over the border here. Now, granted, it's not everywhere in the States, but it's definitely is more accepted to have guns and gunplay. We don't want that here.
Yeah, we don't want that here. No, absolutely. And good morning, Nancy from Cleveland. Yep.
Hi, Nancy.
Hey. All right. Moving on. A Welland woman is hopeful that the city comes through with their promise to improve the accessibility issues on her driveway. Basically, what she's facing is she's got a scooter which helps her around town, and this is a small-wheeled scooter, and electric scooter. But the trouble is getting off the end of her driveway is very problematic with this because it's got too deeper. Many of the driveways are less than half an inch, and this is clearly a bit more than that.
Where was that article? As it goes back a way?
It was one that was yesterday.
Well, and I'm hopeful. Okay, yeah.
So basically Welland had promised to do something about it when Welland again here, and they promised to get it fixed by Christmas. I hope they do.
Yeah, I can't. Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, they're supposed to fix the sidewalk and make it more accessible, but they're kind of dragging their feet. And of course, the best thing to do when you do that is call the press. And this is what I've been asking. They haven't done it. Can you help me? And pretty much, basically, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But
and I hope the city of Welland comes through for them, and it's for her. Let's get it done. And basically, getting one of these off the edge of a driveway should not be problematic.
Yeah. I don't know. This is going to be a continuous thing. As a matter of fact, I've got a friend of mine that I'm going to bring on the show. He's a guy in a wheelchair. He's been in a wheelchair pretty much all his life, and he's finding it very, very difficult to get around town due to the Niagara caravan kind of thing. Yeah, really isn't as good as it was prior to the city taking it over, and it's a source of massive frustration for all of him and his friends. And I want to bring him on the show so he can express his
sure.
Express that. Yeah. And probably maybe Thursday or something like that. I'll ask him to come on. They come on in the morning, and you can give him the connection, and I'll sort that out with you later.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's we're gonna have more and more of this problem going forward because, guess what? We're running out of money. We're running money everywhere, and so the needs that we should be using our money for, like people who need more help in transportation, like people in wheelchairs and so on, it shouldn't be an issue. We should just automatically have ways in which we could accommodate them to make them allow them to live a better life, get around, but we don't, and that's because we don't know how to spend our money. We're always in debt. We're always chasing debt, and then things like this get left on the back burner.
Yeah, and the point being is that you see signs around for, so I saw a sign, there was a sign regularly at one point, because it said blind kid in neighborhood, right? Or deaf kid in neighborhood. I've seen signs for those.
Deaf child or
beware. What does it take to actually the same sort of thing? Special attention when you've got people who've got wheelchairs.
I don't know. The main thing for people in wheelchairs is transportation.
Yeah,
getting from one place to another. So my friend, he's a Kiwanian like me. He joined Kiwanis a couple years ago, and so he does his duty on the kettles. He tries to do his duty on the kettles, and he got there last weekend, and he likely get there this weekend coming up. But it's a big problem for him.
Yeah,
you get there.
So I take it he doesn't. So I take it he doesn't drive or have his own car.
No, he can't.
No. Yeah, that's fine. And that
he drives his electric wheelchair, so he. I'm not so sure at times. He's
there are some crazy.
The most cautious of drivers.
Well, there are some crazy electric wheelchair drivers. I'll have to say that, but
he tried a bit of a move the other a few days ago and tore a muscle in his leg because of it on his electric wheelchair.
How can you tear a muscle in your electric wheelchair?
Well, he was trying to do a shortcut of some kind, but got locked up in some snow, and he started to slide, and his leg got caught on a post.
Oh, that would hurt.
On a post, and he kind of twisted it, and that was what was caused it. But of course, he shouldn't have tried to pull off that move in the first place.
Shouldn't have tried to pull the move off in the first place. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but
right. Is it a legal driveway if the curb is not cut? That's a very good question, Mike. Right.
Yeah.
When you have a disability, you realize how many places are not accessible. Absolutely. Yeah. And when you think about, I was talking with Angela a while back about this entire problem, because we were talking about the Accessibility for Ontarians Act, which is supposed to have made it law that by the beginning of this year, all commercial properties were supposed to be accessible.
Oh, okay.
And many are not.
Yeah, well, it takes time, and
it's an impossibility.
It's like the Stanford Lions Hall that got this being that found the wrecking ball. Basically, they had to sell it. They try to go fund me to make it more accessible to people, and they couldn't really raise the funds, so their only real other option was to sell it. They sold it, and it found, and of course, the building found the wrecking ball. It'd been there since 1920. It was originally a women's college, I think, one time.
Okay.
So
yeah, and it's problematic for many people with as many commercial buildings, and it's still oddity because Accessibility for Ontarians Act is actually was supposed to have made it made all workplaces accessible, except they're not.
Yeah, they're not. It's an enormous amount of investment to do that. And
well, then the thing is, for example, offices above, office suites above shops. How do you make them accessible?
Well, yeah, I was at the independent, the Oddfellows Hall, the Independent Order of the Oddfellows in St. Catharines. I don't know, about a year ago or so, or earlier this year, to watch a concert of local musicians, and it had one long staircase up, but the best thing they could do for accessibility was to have a chair where you could sit on that climbs up the side of the staircase like you see on TV.
Yeah.
But I don't know how anybody would get their wheelchair up there.
Yeah.
When a friend of mine and I, we went everywhere, and we just get a bunch of guys to lift him in his wheelchair up the stairs. One guy would take the front and one guy would take the back, and we go up the stairs one at a time. But we'd have guys calling them But if you had ever had an accident, man, like there was, and I think there was a couple of close calls too. So.
And what would happen in the case of a fire?
Yeah, see what would happen. Yeah, you'd have to carry them down.
Yeah,
and
but again, you're on the assumption that nobody's panicking and leaving the guy behind.
Well, he wouldn't have been left behind, but yeah, the people panicking and jamming the staircase and that kind of thing, maybe.
Yeah.
And if you're taking them down, of course, when we got them upstairs, we'd have to bring them downstairs, and of course that's the same thing. Someone at the front of the chair, someone in the back, going stair at a time down, and you had to do it that way. Otherwise, for a few stairs, when I was younger, I was stronger, so I could do it by myself. I could just haul them up one stair at a time, but that's kind of dangerous, really, when you think of it. One
it is
trip
very
and then
dangerous.
you go.
Yeah, you do that one stair at a time thing, and you lose your balance, right? Yeah. Or you have muscle cramp or something like that. That person could be dead.
Yes. So it's
not a helpful way, and we need to do more about buildings. But then again, some of these buildings we're talking about, they've got office space on second floors, maybe even sometimes on third floors, but they've got no room to actually physically put a lift in.
Yes. Yeah. So there's that too. So some of these places cannot be made accessible. So
yeah.
Anyway,
not without major changes to the building.
Yeah, and it's the person who, for instance, if you rent office space in a building and it's not accessible, then it's up to the person who owns the building to make it accessible.
Yeah, and
they're going to dodge and weave that one as long as they can, because that's a big money outlay.
Mind you, there's a building. There's a building I was looking at the other day on James Street in St. Catharines that is basically ready for somebody to move in there, and it has second and third floor office space there, but it's so empty right now that if you're going to use second and third floor office space, put a lift in. If you're going to make there, just put the lift in right away before you do anything else.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, because it's wide open, right? Anyway.
Well, I hope this lady in Welland gets what she needs.
Yeah,
she did the right thing, going to the press and embarrassing the city. That obviously they've given her the shuffle, and now they can't do that shuffle anymore.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So Poilievre is accusing Carney's Liberals of being counterfeit Conservatives. We knew this was coming.
We've said it here on the show dozens of times.
Yeah, we've been saying this dozens of times.
Yeah, from the very beginning of Carney, even when he began, before he was even the party leader, I said that all he's doing is adopting conservative talking points.
Yeah.
Because they were more sensible than the liberal talking points at the time, and that's what he's done. He's taken them over, and and we talked about the idealism of the liberals, and we found that Gilbert Galbo, or whatever his name is, had to retire because his sort of progressive ideology was torpedoed by the liberals moving more to the center.
Yeah,
and his green technology and green sort of environmental ideas were not being held up by the government. Yeah. The government was moving more to practical rather than ideological outcomes.
And that was actually one of the reasons why, of course, Galbo was basically talking about leaving. He'd been voicing his concerns for quite some time, and basically he's at an odds right now with Carney anyway. So it doesn't help anybody, because in fact, actually, well, it does help. Basically, the Liberals have moved, and the liberal idealism that was under Trudeau was kind of too wacky, too out there, right?
Well, it was pushing towards the conservative, new age, new age sensitive type of stuff. Well, we got to do stuff about the environment, and we got to do this and that and all this other stuff. But along comes a guy like Carney, and he sees through that. Well, if we can get there, but we need money to do that.
Yeah.
And right now, if we don't have money, all this is just talk. And if we do need, the country needs money. It needs to sell its oil. It needs to sell its minerals. You start a mine, you're going to do environmental damage, but it's going to employ people, and your country's going to get wealthier. If you sell oil, your country's going to get wealthier. And if you do, have wealth, and then you do put more and stricter rules on emissions, then that works out in the long run because you have money to do it. So it's a kind of it's a catch-22. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. And the previous Liberal government was quite happy to be damned if they don't. So they were demanding more compliance on CO2 emissions from Alberta. And Alberta says the only way we could meet those goals is to stop production or reduce production. And that's, what good is that? That makes us poorer. That makes Canada poorer. Remember how much money you're getting from this oil when we sell it.
Yeah.
11% of the tax revenue of Canada comes from there, or something of that kind.
Yeah.
It's like 11% of Canadian GDP is the oil that sells or produces, and you want to reduce that because that's the only way to meet these environmental targets. And then the very idea that if you sell less or produce less oil, that's going to change anything. No, that's not going to change anything, because the people who need that oil will just buy it somewhere else. The same amount of oil will be consumed.
We may as well get
out. The idea is to move things more towards cleaner production, but you can't do that without wealth, and there's no point in making yourself poorer when nothing's going to change. If you don't sell your oil to Vietnam, let's say we're selling oil to Vietnam, and we say, okay, we can't do that anymore because we're going to be the green people. Well, Vietnam just buys it from somebody else, so the same amount of oil gets burned.
Okay, so here's the question for you. I'm gonna put this question in another slightly different way if I can get it formed right. So, Conservative leader says that Prime Minister Mark Carney's government is practicing counterfeit conservatism. How does Poilievre turn that around to make it to his advantage?
I don't think he can. What happened, unfortunately, for Poilievre, he was the heir apparent to Trudeau. Basically, they had a huge factor in the polls, but along comes Carney, and what does Carney do? He just kind of pushes Justin and his ideas aside, and immediately starts using conservative talking points like let's get rid of the carbon tax.
Yeah, and pulls the rug out from under Poilievre's feet.
Yeah, so he just takes his ideas, and all which were good ideas. The Liberals before Carney didn't know what to do. The carbon tax was their idea, and they kept trying to tell everybody how wonderful it was, and nobody believed them, and they couldn't convince anybody to believe them.
Yeah,
but they couldn't bring it to themselves to cancel it. But along comes Carney, new guy. He says, "Oh, the first thing we're going to do is get rid of that carbon tax." Well, yeah.
It wasn't helping Canada at all.
No.
And it didn't lead to anything, because carbon tax is basically just, it's you and I are paying money because Canada's guilty of overly emitting carbon fuels, the emissions from carbon fuels. And again, I always look at it as that if you decided that, hey, you wanted to build a ship that went out and dealt with plastic waste in the oceans, it could be argued against, but it would have practical value. Whereas the carbon tax has zero practical value. It doesn't actually result in anything.
No, it just complicates things. It causes a whole new bureaucracy had to be built created. And when they said, well, you didn't lose any money anyway, the average person, because they get the rebates or whatever. Well, what was the whole point of it in any case? If you don't lose anything and you get the money back, what was the point of it in the first place? The point of it was to put the sticker price for gas so high that you'd be reluctant to use it. But who did that hurt? That hurt people with older cars, the people with less money, of older cars that are less fuel efficient, et cetera, et cetera. They hurt the guy that needs a truck to go to work and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It was just a stupid idea to begin with.
And the idea, part of the idea being, hey, don't use that gas guzzler vehicle, use something more efficient. Well, essentially the use and the adoption of things like electric vehicles is something that the market has to get used to anyway.
Well, I'm talking about the average person who cannot switch the car or find a more fuel efficient. The cars I used to drive most of my life were big gas guzzlers because they were solid, reliable cars, but they drank a lot of fuel. But that's what I could afford. I mean, I could afford those cars that were 10 or 15 years old. You know what I mean? And I could get a few 5 or 6 more years out of them, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's the same as everybody today. Basically,
that's what the average working. That's what the average working guy, buys anyway, right?
Gotta.
Yeah.
I mean, the average working guy is not going to be able to buy. Very few people are going to be able to buy a new car. Almost nobody. I only know 1 or 2 people that actually buy new cars. They're just out of reach for most people.
Yeah, and the thing is, I get it.
I've never owned one myself. Never owned a new car.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, all right. Okay, so at the end of the day, when you're buying second-hand cars, you've got to live by what there is available. And how often do you see a second-hand electric car?
Those will be coming soon.
I know they will.
That brings on a whole different bunch of problems, of course, in this battery life. Basically, that's what you have to worry about. When you buy a secondhand electric car, you have to determine how long that battery's going to live, because that's going to be your big expense. That's going to be the $3,000 switch. If your electric car still is good car, the motor and everything is still good in it, the battery is the thing that will have to be changed.
Yeah, and if the battery,
and that's rather dear, and that goes with hybrids as well.
Yeah, well, if the batteries, that's for sure, both hybrids and battery-driven cars, electric cars are actually suffer the same issue, because in fact, when the battery runs out, it's going to cost you a large amount of money to get a new battery.
Yeah.
All right.
So in any case, Poilievre is I'm surprised it took this long for him to make that kind of comment.
Well,
and we've been making it from day one. The Carney's lifted his head. In fact, before, when liberals went to see Carney out west, remember that when there was this crisis going on, and all the liberals went there, and Justin was trying to shake up his cabinet because he thought that might be the difference. And they talked to Carney, and Carney pretty well told them, get rid of the carbon tax and pick up some of the points from Poilievre. But by that time, Justin's days were numbered, and the Liberal governments sort of stepped towards the Progressive, had to turn around and come back and go more practical.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So moving on from that, I think, it doesn't help. What the problem I think that Poilievre faces right now is in January he's got a leadership review. I think from 25th to 29th that leadership review takes place. That could be problematic for him, especially with the loss of MPs he's been suffering.
He's got to find a way of getting away from his Trump light or MAGA light type of image. Yeah, it doesn't work up here. He, like, the character assassinations he did against Trudeau were funny and amusing, and they really sank home. But when you got a guy like Carney coming in, who is not a drama teacher but is an actual, banker and investor himself. I mean, he's a self-made wealthy man, plus, the governor of the Bank of Canada and the governor of the Bank of England. So the guy's got talent. Let's face it. Now, does the Liberal Party have enough talent to be able to move with him? That's my issue here. They've just reincarnated Mark Miller, as we did see a little while ago. And in fact, there's an amusing political cartoon in the Globe and Mail about that, where they that Mark Carney's pulled him out of a box and sort of dusting him off and saying, kind of reviving him. He was like, he was one of the Trudeau era type of politicians that he can use, but we'll see what happens there. But that was
all right. Funny. Okay, so local hero at Bondi Beach, a bystander by the name of Ahmed Ahmed disarmed the gunman who was shooting those Jewish victims.
It's the world we have today. So you've got a couple of guys in Australia who are inspired by ISIS and ISIS ideology, decide that they're going to do a terrorist attack on Jewish people. And one of the heroes of the day is a Muslim from Syria, whose ancestry is from Syria. So a Muslim guy comes and disarms the other Muslim guy and takes a few bullets for his trouble too. But by disarming that guy, he undoubtedly saved more lives doing that, because he took the gun away from him, and that guy was just shooting away at people. If you see the video, the guy was propped by a tree or something like that, leveling the gun and letting the crowd, shooting into the crowd. This guy comes along, so he's obviously saved a bunch of people. Unfortunately, there was another gunman, and that was his son. So he took a couple of bullets from but here we have a extremist Muslims shooting up a Jewish holiday and killing Jews, and another Muslim comes along and is the hero of the day, basically by stopping that man. Well, at least one of them.
Stopping one of them anyway. Yeah. And putting himself in danger. I think that's an important aspect to this. Putting himself in danger in order to make that, in order to try and stop the killing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, he took bullets for it. I think his arm got shot up. He had to go into surgery. I think
he had surgery on his arm. Yeah.
Arm and shoulder, I think, and he had like a more than one bullet. Luckily, it was in his arm. It could have been somewhere else.
And of course, in the aftermath of all of this, New South Wales Premier Chris Minns visited this gentleman in hospital.
Yeah, the whole thing is just a tragedy. But the idea of this is very, very important, because the whole idea that Muslims and Jews want to kill each other anytime they get a chance. Well, you get these twisted guys that are victimized by the radicalization of ISIS and other extremist fundamentalist groups. And then you've got an ordinary everyday Muslim come along and save some of them by disarming the ISIS dude.
Yeah.
So I think that's just by coincidence that was that guy happened to be a Muslim disarming another a Muslim gone nuts is a good thing for the. I mean, I don't know. It's terrible, and that I don't know what to do about that, because these are ideological killings. There's no profit in it. There's nothing to be gained in it other than killing people. And when you have ideology like that, how do you stop it?
Yeah, it's very difficult, as much as I could say, there are not 78 virgins out there for you if you're going to become a terrorist, right? It's not,
it's good
it's not going to stop them, is it?
Well, I just found out recently that 72 virgin thing is one of those things that are questioned among Muslim scholars. There are the things they know that Muhammad said. There are things they think that he said, and there are things that he may have said but don't have much credibility, and that is one of them. And that's one of the things we don't hear about. When they go in the Muslim faith, they have, of course, the Quran, which was supposed to be dictated from God to Muhammad. Muhammad couldn't read or write, so he had to dictate it, and whoever copied it down was the person who put it in. And after Muhammad died, there was all kinds of variations of the Quran, and they decided to standardize with one.
About Muhammad.
And then they have this, what they call the sutras or whatever. And those are stories that are assumed to be things that Muhammad was involved in. And then they have all these other stories that they don't know how much credibility they have. And the idea of so many virgins may never have been anything that he said at all.
Yeah.
And it's questioned by the Muslim faith, by imams and everything.
Yeah,
it's one of those. Yeah,
absolutely. It's entirely questionable, and has very little connection to the Quran anyway.
Yeah, it is not in the Quran. It's in the Quran.
And as our climate research person, religion is the opioid of the masses, said Frederick William Nietzsche. Yes.
I think it was it Nietzsche or was it?
Well, Marx repeated it.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I know Nietzsche was like, God is dead and we have killed him. Yeah.
Marx certainly repeated it, and also Marx expanded upon that opioid of the masses concept.
Well, there were contemporary philosophers, let's put it that way, and Nietzsche himself was more concerned with the fact that religion could not sustain itself anymore, and that we do not have a moral and ethical foundation as much as we used to when we did believe in religion. So that is part of what Nietzsche said. Nietzsche's amazing thinker. It's hard to read him though, because I feel I'm going to go into a state of psychosis.
Well, remember, it was written in 18th century German and
19th century.
Sorry, 19th century German. Thank you for correcting me. Early 19th century German, and which is really hard to translate.
Are you serious?
And some of the German is really quite hard to translate from that era. Yeah.
Marx and stuff.
Marx
and Nietzsche?
as well. Marx as well. But Marx actually wrote.
I've never heard that.
Also wrote in English.
Well, Marx and Engels. Remember, there's Engels. He contributed more of the volumes.
Yeah, Engels was basically fully conversant in English. So, because he was an English capitalist, wasn't he?
Yes, he was, with socialist ideas. It's kind of really weird.
Yeah,
he was. And a womanizer, and he was
Marx
like a weird guy.
Marx was a womanizer.
Well, not as much as Engels.
I never heard stories about Engels being a womanizer, but still.
I think he was a frequenter of brothels and things of that kind, but I'm not so sure right off the bat. But anyway, we digress here.
Yeah.
Anyway, the thing is that there was this guy, and he saved this other guy, and the other people. I think it's a good lesson for us all, the normal people, despite, like there's a Muslim who stopped another Muslim. And my biggest fear is some goof is going to shoot this guy.
Yeah.
Stopping a Muslim from murdering innocent people. So this Muslim guy stops a radicalized Muslim from killing innocent people just because they're Jewish. And he might become the target of another radicalized Islamic phobic Islamic guy. I don't know. My mind's getting all twisted here.
All right. Okay. So we have a little bit of an argument going on in the comments. There's zero evidence that God exists, and Ricky says, "God bless us all." There we go. A nice argument. Let's not go beyond that, guys. Right. You can believe what you want to believe, right? Okay.
Yeah, if we want to talk about Nietzsche, he was the one that felt that anyway, that his main thing that he's usually credited with saying things like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and whatever, and things like God is dead. But that's not the whole quote. God is dead and we have killed him is the quote.
And the opioid of the masses one is also, there's a deeper quote to that. It's a lot bigger if you do explore it right. Okay, Canada's need for plasma and blood donors is growing. We've got a major problem in Canada.
Yeah, anyone who can. Donation. Well, one thing I noticed about this article, it was they never let you give blood more than once a month before. But now, because of the need is out there, they'll let you do weekly or every 2 weeks, which is was kind of shocking to me, because absolutely not would they let you give more than that before. When my father was a shop teacher at Meyer, and somebody says, "Can we use a shop just to fix my car?" And my father would say, "Yeah, after school, but you have to go give blood. You have to. That's the conditions here. As soon as the blood clinic opens up, you donate. If you promise me you'll do that, I'll let you fix your car in here." So that was one of the things my father did. I did myself completely, but I cannot now because they won't let me now because I had arrhythmia at one time. So they're afraid to take blood from me. Although I snuck in 3 more times after that, before they caught up to me again, because I knew it was no big deal. So they said, okay, you can't give blood because you got arrhythmia. And but the next time they came to work, I went in and got blood. And the next time after that, and the next time after that, I tried, hey, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be giving blood. So anyway.
Yeah, well, currently only about 27% of plasma needed for immunoglobulins is collected in Canada, with the remaining 73% sourced on the international market. That's one of the problems we face right now.
Yes. Yeah. And I'll encourage anybody to go give blood. As you know, I mean, there's some people that have religious restraints on them, Jehovah's Witnesses and so on. So of course, don't do that. Don't even consider it if it's against your religion. But most of us don't have that kind of restraint. So let's go out there, everyone, and give blood. You're going to save somebody's life. It's going to be more and more needed as it goes along. And there are certain blood types. I think it was AB or something combined with any blood type.
Yeah, some of the more rarer blood types have always got big problems.
Yeah, and there's and my son, my youngest son, has a type of blood type that is coveted because it can combine with any other blood type.
Yeah.
So they're always encouraging him to give blood. I think I've got the most common blood type, so I got no problem giving. But I did have until they decided not to take it. But so anybody out there that's healthy, and you can give every week if you want. Now, that's a big change because they wouldn't let you do it once a month before. They'll let you do it once a week now, because they figure that you've regenerated enough. But I would say to be on the safe side, especially if you're a little older, don't do it any more than every 2 weeks.
Yeah. All right. So basically, okay, so you're going to book an appointment through the Canadian Blood Services website or download the Give Blood app to find your nearest clinic and schedule an appointment.
Yeah.
There you go. They're making it easier to do it. Yes. And as you say, doing it more frequently. Yeah. Okay. Any further thoughts on that?
No, I would encourage anybody that can to do that. That's a simple way of giving back. Yeah. Really, you don't know whether it's a child, an adult, or anybody. Somebody gets in an accident and they're going to need a lot of blood. What are you going to do? You got to do what you can.
Yeah.
That's just an easy, simple way of giving back, and it doesn't harm you. As a matter of fact, some people think it's kind of good to kind of regenerate your blood like that. I'm not so sure, but what is for certain, it's not going to harm you. And you've done a whole lot of good for your fellow human beings.
Okay. I'm going to
be proud of you.
I'm going to pass on that comment. And it's your funeral. Yep. Okay. And I heard they sell their products, blood and plasma, which they get for free. Is that right? Who sell that? Canadians? I would think, given we've got a shortage right now, that would be problematic to do.
To do what?
Sell our blood.
You can in Europe and stuff like that. You can sell your blood. You could sell your blood if you want to. I think if they sold it, they may have a few more. The problem is when you start selling your blood, then you get anyone off the street. You talk about homeless people. They'll be selling their blood and that kind of thing. And it might not be the healthiest thing for somebody on the edge of society like that. Their immune systems may be compromised. I'm not so sure that their blood would be tested, so there wouldn't be any problem there. But
you have to be tested.
It might not be good for them. And then if you offer them money for their blood, what are they going to do with it? If they bought something to eat with it, yeah, that would be good. But if they booze and alcohol or drugs or even tobacco,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you might be causing more health problems than you gain from it.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
would say that, look, it's an easy thing to do. It's an easy thing to do. Go to the clinic, give some blood. You can really do a whole lot of good by just doing that.
All right.
And that's all.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think that kind of brings us to the end of where we are. We've got a couple more articles. We'll move over till tomorrow, including one about Israel.
Yeah, that what happens in Israel and Palestine, what they do is they take over old areas that were Palestinian areas. Well, they're not old; they're still there. What they do then is they push the Palestinians out of the area. They change the name of the place, and they knock down anything that may be of significance to the Palestinians. They'll knock down their fields. They'll and all that kind of thing. So it's a really brutal kind of trying to erase any evidence that the Palestinians ever lived there for the 2,000 years they have lived there. And the archaeologists are on board, sadly. It's that Zionist thing going awry. Anyway,
yeah,
we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Without further ado, I bid you adieu.